Welcome back, my friend. It seems the very atmosphere of the void is shifting tonight. Just look at the clock. It has stopped. Time itself seems to be waiting. Tell me, do you think you, by you I mean humans, are the first beings to walk the earth? The first to look up at the moon and wonder? In 1903, in a small Iowa mining town, the answer arrived with the smell of ozone and the screech of metal on rock. Tonight, I am going to tell you about the events surrounding the mysterious Van Meter visitor. A 5-night siege of the town of Van Meter, where its citizens fought something that was part bat, part dragon, and perhaps part something else entirely. Something that didn't just walk the earth. It felt the earth's connection. Yes, there is a frequency to this story. A pulse that is unsettling. I can feel it, echoing back from the void. We'll investigate that echo together. But listen closely. Some noises are just warning us for the terrors yet to come. It began on the night of September 29th. The town of Van Meter was a typical Midwestern settlement, quiet and predictable. But that predictability was violently shattered when several prominent citizens, including the local banker and the cashier, looked up and saw, well, they saw a creature. The creature standing above them was described as having massive wings, much like a bat's, but far larger than any living creature. Some swore they saw a single horn on its head. As horrible of a visage as that description implies, it wasn't just seen. The creature left behind a physical presence, a powerful sulphurous odor, and the sharp, echoing cry of a beast that knew no master, nor wanted one. Local implement dealer U.G. Griffith spotted the creature perched on a rooftop and, believing it to be a prank, fired his rifle at it. Because that's what you did back then when you thought something was a prank. You shot at it. In any case, according to the local accounts, the creature was unfazed by the gunshots and flew away. For the first night, the town was paralyzed by the impossible. The second night brought the horror into focus. A group of armed men were prepared, waiting. When the creature reappeared, they opened fire. Multiple witnesses swore they saw the bullets hit. They heard them hit. But the lead did nothing. The creature didn't even flinch. And then, the visitor revealed its true power. A beam of blindingly bright white light erupted from its horn. It didn't just illuminate the night, it seemed to paralyze the men, rendering them useless as the beast casually surveyed its domain before flying away. Other accounts from that night describe the visitor paying a house call. Dr. Alcott was awakened by a bright light shining into his room, revealing a 7 to 8 foot tall, winged humanoid creature with a bright light on its forehead, standing on a nearby rooftop. Dr. Alcott stated that he fired 5 shots from his revolver at the creature, which did not appear to be affected, staring at him before disappearing. It is amazing to me that so many of these people have guns ready and at hand. A discussion for another time, I suppose. Another account that led to more property destruction and yet more shooting occurred later that same night. At the local bank, a man named Clarence Dunn was guarding the bank as he feared all the activity and talk surrounding the first night's events was just a story to distract from a potential bank robbery. So, while patrolling inside the bank, Mr. Dunn reportedly saw the creature and fired his shotgun at it through the bank window, but again, to no effect on the beast. Supposedly, following the creature's encounter, residents reported finding large, 3-toed tracks, of which Dunn allegedly made a plaster cast. By the third night, panic was setting in. The creature was no longer content to simply observe. It began to attack. It swooped down on the armed posse, its 20-foot wingspan causing a downdraft that scattered weapons and horses and men alike. The cries of the beast grew louder, more intelligent. It was as if it was testing the town's defenses. This wasn't a lost animal. It was a hunter. It was studying its prey, learning their fears, and the smell of sulfur and ozone grew so strong it made the very air of the town feel charged, dangerous, much like the static before a great consuming storm. On the final night, the town had finally tracked down the beast. They followed the smell of decay and ozone to an old, abandoned coal mine located on the edge of town. They found the creature standing guard at the mine's entrance. But as the townsfolk prepared for their final confrontation, they saw a second creature, smaller, yet identical, merging with the shadows of the earth. The townspeople realized they weren't just simply facing a solitary monster. They were facing a visitation, the prelude to an invasion. Something had opened a door deep beneath the bedrock, and the contents were spilling out. Think about it, as those people stood there. To peer into that mine was to look at the voids that we create within the earth itself, haunting and mysterious. The town of Van Meter unleashed everything it had. According to local accounts, for over an hour they poured gunfire into the mine's mouth, aiming at the twin silhouettes. They watched as the beasts simply turned, seemingly bored by the lead rain, and casually descended back into the earth. The smell of ozone faded. The screams stopped. The silence that followed was heavy and complete. The Van Meter visitor has not been seen in Iowa in over a century. But they never found any bodies. They never found any physical proof beyond the consistent testimony of hundreds of sober, reliable citizens. The earth simply opened, revealed its hunger, and then closed again, satisfied, perhaps, for now. The siege ended on October 3rd, 1903. Van Meter returned to normal. But here, in the library, we do not believe in coincidence. There are connection points, frequencies that open doors, create pathways. The smell of ozone in Van Meter is an echo of a very specific and dangerous frequency. It is a pulse that resonates, a connection point between our reality and their visceral, untamed hunger. I'll be with you soon. The void calls. Do not worry, my friend. I am studying that pulse now, analyzing its frequency, preparing a proper unbinding. But for now, let us rest. The story is safe in the archives. Go now. But remember that the bedrock isn't always as solid as it seems. Until next time, may peace and harmony find you.